Hello, everyone. Welcome to our today's webinar. This is Dave Nabrodsky. Today's webinar is Finding Leads Through Blogs. I'm really excited to discuss this today because, as many of you know, a big part of my focus in my longevity business and longevity success has been through online efforts. And so let me go ahead and outline what we're going to talk about today. Why is it important to have a blog in the first place, right? So before we even go through all the details of it, we need to understand the importance of it. So why have a blog? We're going to talk about how to set up a blog. There's many options, but I kind of summarized it with the two simple options for you. We're going to then talk about what to do next. What are your next action items? And then we'll close with 3 important tips for success, things that I believe are foundational to having a very successful blog and using online efforts in your business. So why is it important to have a blog? Well, there's 2 different approaches in this business when it comes to marketing and growing, to get more sales, to build up your team, and that is finding people versus helping people find you. Now, I believe it's important to do both. You've got to have a good blend. Finding people is going to get you certainly probably some more immediate results, right? You're starting with your friends and family, your community, and whether it be you're hosting parties or doing events or opportunity nights, things like that, versus helping people find you. Now, my personal focus, and I'm not saying this needs to be your focus, but my personal focus has been in helping people find me. I believe instead of just marketing to my neighborhood or my community, I really wanted to market to the world, right? I wanted to market to people in any state, in any country, and truthfully, in any language. I didn't want those barriers, and so I thought if I could have a bigger net, if you will, like a fishing net, I can attract more people versus trying to do things more locally, using kind of a fishing pole. So that's kind of the analogy that helps me in my online efforts and approaches. I want to cast the biggest net possible to attract the most amount of people into my business. So let's go over where Google has come from. When we talk about helping people find you through the internet, we're going to focus today primarily on blogs, although there's going to be many different ways and different tactics and strategies that you use. But back in '98, that's the year that Google first officially launched. And by the end of that first year, users were making about 500,000 searches per day. So a lot of searches, right? Now fast forward to today, when I'm not sure when you'll be watching this webinar. Those that will be watching it on the recorded versus the live. But it's the end of 2017, and recent statistics said instead of just 500,000 searches a day, Google now can track 2.3 million Google searches, not just per day or per hour, but that's per minute. Isn't that crazy? 2.3 million Google searches per minute are happening, on the internet. What's the role of Google? Google simply is matching searches, right? People are sitting down on their computer or their mobile devices and they're typing in words to do a search to find something. And Google is simply, through their own complicated algorithms, they're trying to, as instantly as possible, take those words that are searched and match that to websites that are out there, right, to the World Wide Web, based on the content of those websites. And Google gives websites, whether it's an e-commerce site or whether it's a blog, a WordPress site, whatever the website is and its form, it's trying to say, okay, based on the content, we're going to rank that site based on how valuable that we feel it is. And so it's an ongoing process to not just start a blog or start a website, but things that you can do to try to rank better, to have more of a presence, to make it easier for people in the online community to find you, right? We go through a lot of effort to find people, to reach out to people in our community, to share our business, to share our products and opportunity. How great it is and how powerful it is to have people find us as well. Okay? So that's the role of Google. Now, can people online do a Google search and find your longevity site? the one you get for free when you enroll as a representative, which is the username.youngevity.com or longevityyusa.com, depending on what you use. The answer to that is no. It is almost impossible for people to find your URL, your personal website through online. The reason for that is replicated sites look like spam to Google, meaning each one of our sites are basically the same. Well, they are the same, with the exception of in our URL, we have a different username, right? Mine's hookedon.longevity.com. Yours might be sarah.longevity.com or whatever it may be. But the actual content there is the same, right? Corporate puts that content there and does all that work, and then we are able to send people to that site. But it's very, very difficult, almost impossible, for the online world to just find your site through a Google search, okay? And the other reason is that it's just not fresh, unique concept. So Google's computer system, if you will, sees all of our sites and thinks that they're all the same, and so it doesn't find value because they're just not unique, okay? So you've got to keep that in mind. So what's the way around that? I believe one of the best ways and one of the most economical ways is by having a blog. Now, what's kind of the purpose of a blog? Well, keep in mind this, and this is the Christmas season as I'm giving this webinar, a season of giving. A blog is simply that. You have to give in order to receive. Okay? You need to give and be present online to receive the confidence and business from customers, and the best way of doing that, I believe, is through a blog. Think of like a brick and mortar business, right? They unlock their door every day, and it tells the local reach and the local community that their business is open. Well, we need to do that, but we also need to open our doors online and let the online community know that, hey, we're here. And unless you're providing fresh and unique content, which our corporate replicated sites can't do, then it's very, very difficult for people to find you. A blog educates prospective customers. So that's another great way that you're giving. You're not, every blog post is not just buy, right? It's not, here's my store and here's the sales that we're having and here's the promotions. It's really more of an education process that you're doing. You're taking a prospect that finds your blog. Think of them as kind of the seed. You're planting the seed, and then you're nurturing that by giving them content, by giving them value in many different forms. A lot of it will be through a blog post, things that you're writing. It might be through some pictures that you put on a blog post or some videos and so forth. But overall, you're educating that prospective customer, and in order to be seen as a trusted resource for whatever your target market or prospect is looking for. Okay? So one of the great ways a blog can provide answers or value to prospects in the online community is to provide answers. And so one of the ways that I think not just setting up a blog, but an ongoing blog when it comes to what content should you write about is just taking your frequently asked questions, right, from people that whether you do home parties or events or whatever it is, trade shows. What questions do people ask over and over about your products, your service, your opportunity? And then you turn basically those questions into a blog post. So that's kind of organized in the way, and the internet can then, Google can then crawl, or in other words, find your site, find your content, and then help other people to then be matched to your site based on searches they do. Okay? That's the overall kind of the why blogging is important. I think it goes without saying the internet has drastically changed not just the way that we do business and buy things, but everything about our life, right? In the last 20 plus years, things have drastically changed. So just keep that in mind. 2.3 million Google searches per minute happen worldwide. How many of those searches would you like to be people finding you, finding your business, finding your opportunity, finding the products that you're marketing, the products that you're selling? So let's go to the next thing, which is how to set up a blog, or how to set up a blog. And there's many different ways. I'm going to kind of break it down to two simple ways. One way is through Blogger. So you go to blogger.com. It's a free way. It's probably one of the most user-friendly blogs, ways to set up a blog, because there's templates already established. So it's a very, very simple tutorial. I won't go into the details of how to do that. You can do a YouTube search, do a search for YouTube videos on how to set up a Blogger account, and they'll walk you through steps, 1, 2, 3. It's very, very simple, but it is free. One thing I like about it is that it's owned by Google, and so it's not necessary or required to make sure your blog is hosted through Blogger. There's many other sites out there like WordPress, which is my second option. But Blogger is a great one to start with if you feel overwhelmed and maybe have never had any experience doing anything with blog. It's easy to use, it's free, it's Google owned, and you can set it up in a matter of 5 to 10 minutes. Okay? So blogger.com, and then you just basically will create what your title is. It might be if you're going to do something around fashion or recipes or whatever it may be. Your site might be, wholesale-shopping.blogspot or savorrecipes.blogspot.com or so, whatever it is. So Blogger is one option. The second option that I really like is setting up a WordPress blog. Now this takes a little bit more time and a little bit more, I don't want to say expertise, but it does require a little bit more, and it does usually cost a little bit. So, for example, you're going to have to, unless you know how to do it yourself, you're going to pay someone to design the blog, to set up the WordPress blog, and then you're going to have to pay each month to have that blog hosted. For example, you can go through GoDaddy.com. They offer hosting plans. I think there's little like $4 or $5 a month. So it is very economical, right? $50 or $60 a month to host it. I'm sorry, a year to host it, and then you can. Another tip I have is, I don't know if any of you have used Fiverr. Let me go. I think I'm sharing my screen here. Hopefully you can see this. But if you go to Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, Fiverr is basically known for this platform that offers services for $5. Now that's kind of what they're known for. You can pay a little bit more and have more things done. But for example, you can go up here and do a search for, create a WordPress blog, and it'll populate all these different people worldwide that are willing to to set it up for you. Now I usually like to filter it by the number of people. I might do filtered by best selling people that have the highest reviews, and you can see it ranges all over the place, but really for anywhere from $25 to $50, you don't need to do these. Some people charge way too much. Actually, it's still a great price when you think about it. If you were to go to somebody local, to a local, graphic person or IT person and say, hey, I want you to design a website, you can easily pay $1,000, $2,000 or more. So $300 is still very economical and a great value, but there's certainly people out there that do great work that have had 5-star ratings, like this person's done 31 of them and has gotten 5 stars, for $25. So if you're overwhelmed, you can simply, browse through Fiverr and find some very, very economical ones, for, I believe, under $50. Okay? And they'll set up everything for you. It's super simple. You can just kind of tell them, hey, here's what I want it to kind of look like. Like you can say, hey, here's what I want it to look like at the top. Here's what I want it to, the colors I want it to use, the design, and so forth. And they'll do everything for you. And it usually takes them, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days at the most to get that set up for you. Okay, so that's the second option, is doing a WordPress site. It does require a little bit more money. So for some of you who, if that's an option, then great. Set it up yourself or go to Fiverr.com, find somebody to do it. You basically tell them what you want, and then they do the programming for you. Okay? And then you go to GoDaddy.com, or it can be another carrier, but that's one I use, and you can pay about $5 a month to host that WordPress site. Okay? The other thing I'll share about WordPress that I love, that I think is one of the most powerful plugins or tools that you have to help you with your blog, especially if you're just getting started. But even if you're a seasoned expert in this, it's still a very, very powerful thing to use. And that is a plugin. It's free. It's called Yoast, Y-O-A-S-T. Let me go. I just did a quick Google search for SEO Yoast, just so I can pull up some screenshots or some images of what it is. So basically, within your blog, like this picture that you see here, they're type text here for what their blog content is. They can add media, they can add pictures and videos and things like that. But then when you add this plugin, and by the way, if you go through Fiverr.com, many of those people will actually install the plugin for you for free. So it's totally set up. And this is kind of what it looks like in your back office. So this person's writing a particular article, and over here you'll see on the far right, there's a little thing that says SEO check. And if you click on that, it will actually grade your blog post and tell you everything that's right about it and everything that's wrong about it. Or meaning, what are things that you can do to improve your ranking and improve your visibility so that you have a better chance of people finding what it is that you're writing about. It is brilliant. So I'll just click on a couple things here. This will just kind of give you an example. So they clicked on, here's their URL. Here, you don't actually see what they wrote about on this screen. But here's the analysis. Again, this is done for you for free, and you can do this every single time, every time you write a blog post. So it'll tell you very specifically what you can do to improve. So for example, this one says, hey, your focus keyword doesn't appear in the first paragraph of the copy. Make sure the topic is clear immediately. And then it might say your keyword isn't shown very much within your article. And so a keyword basically is this. When you write something, remember how I talked about at the very beginning, people are typing a Google search, right? They might type in one word, they might type in 5 or 6 words, but it's usually not like sentences. It's just something really quick and simple. So you're basically saying, what are things that people might search for? And then you want to take that keyword and strategically do things within your blog post so that way you have a higher score. And this is basically telling you, hey, you need to use that keyword more within the body of your text or within the article that you're writing about. Okay? Next thing, and this will always rank it in order of importance. So you kind of start at the very top and then kind of work your way down. Next thing it says is the keyword density. Well, we already went on that. Images on this page do not have all attributes containing the focus keyword. Now that sounds kind of confusing, but basically when you are writing a blog post and you upload an image, let's say you're writing a blog post about savor recipes, and you upload an image that has a meal that somebody cooked using savor spices and it looks good. So you import it, very simple, upload it to your blog post, and then when you double click on that image, something like this would show up. So it shows, here's your image, and then it automatically has information in here. And what you simply do is you would just highlight this area, this alt text area, and change that to whatever your keyword is that you're trying to focus on during your blog post. So now, within your blog post, you have an image that highlights that keyword as well. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay? So again, I won't go, maybe there's a whole other webinar we can do on just using Yoast because it is so powerful. But I just want to give you kind of an overview that you don't have to have any knowledge, any expertise with blogging, or even any expertise in SEO, which is search engine optimization. It's the strategy of things you do to be seen better, to be found, more frequently online. Okay, it's called SEO, and just know that this tool is free, and you can. It's a plugin that you put in once right into your WordPress blog, and it's there forever. And every time you write a post, now you just click on check my score, and it's going to give you a list of things you can do to improve your blog article. Okay? All right. this just kind of shows a couple other things that the Yoast does. It basically tells you, is your keyword in your article heading? Is it in your page title? Is it in your URL? Your actual URL. So, for example, if you were trying to do a keyword of savor spices, and your blog article URL said something about, I don't know, maybe just had your name or something like that, your ranking is not going to be as high. So you can simply go in and click a button and just change your URL to, instead of saying your name, you can change it to be whatever your keyword is, savor spices, or cooking with spices, or whatever it may be. Okay? All right, enough about that. So that's kind of how to set up a blog, right? Set up a free one through Blogger, or you can set up through WordPress and pay maybe $50 to set it up. If you want to have a professional do it for you, and then another $50 or so a year to have it hosted through GoDaddy. All right, now the next step is what to do next. All right. First of all, you've got to decide, now that you've set up your blog on one of those, you've got to decide, what do you want to blog about? This is something that I love, how the internet has helped us to be able to focus on the things that we're passionate about. It used to be that you join a business, you join, whether it was a home party company or an MLM company, and they had a particular genre, health and nutrition, maybe weight loss, maybe essential oils, whatever it was, and they were limited to just that. And so you kind of had to focus everything on that limited niche and genre or category. The beauty, as you all know, of Youngevity is that we're not limited. Youngevity is a family of brands representing so many different things. So you really can pick the things that you're passionate about, and that's what I love. I would tell you, I have people sometimes ask the question, well, what should I blog about? What are the top selling items? I would actually encourage you not to have that approach. I would actually say, turn it back to you. What are you passionate about? What do you like doing? What would you like to write about? Maybe you love writing. Maybe you love cooking, and so you want to do something about savor spices. Maybe you love memory preservation, and so you want to do something more on the snap to finish stuff. Maybe you love fashion and jewelry, and so you want to focus a little more on Melia jewelry or essential oils or whatever it may be. Products, okay? So you can kind of pick the things you're passionate about, and then you're going to set up your blog, which we just talked about, through Blogger or WordPress. And then the third step on what to do next is to do some research. You can go out, once you kind of narrow down what you want to blog about and what you're passionate about, you can then go do some online searches and see, what are people already talking about? What are they interested in? So let me just kind of give you an example. You can go to, let's just go to Facebook, and up here, you can now do a search for just about anything, right? You can do a search for, let's say you want to focus, I've kind of already used spices a couple of times, so we'll kind of go with that thing. So let's just type in cooking with spices. And now I can narrow it to, search people, pages, posts, things like that. But I can now scroll through here and check out things that people write about. So, for example, here's a Facebook post that somebody did, and it had 35 comments. Almost 400 people liked it. It had over 1,000 shares, so that was an article that people found interesting. It was from someone's blog. And you can just kind of scroll down here and just check out. Here's another, looks like a doctor, that talks about some spices. And here's, 1,000 people that already said, hey, I'm interested. I have, interest in this discussion. And so you can simply click on some of these things and kind of give yourself some ideas of, what's working well. Maybe you'll see posts that don't have any, I can hit post. And you can click on things and say, hey, this one doesn't have a lot of, likes, doesn't have a lot of shares, and so forth. So, again, it kind of just will give you some ideas. And by the way, usually you'll need to scroll down because the first couple that you're going to see are probably likely going to be people that are already your friends. And so you might come across people within Youngevity already. So obviously you don't want to step on their toes. So you're going to go and broaden yourself out to other posts, from bloggers and magazines and things like that that post. Anyway, this will give you kind of an idea of things that people are posting about and what people like, right? Here's a great thing. What vegans taught us about cooking with spices. Pay attention to nutritional benefits. You can see how many people liked it. So if you just even clicked on this post and entered a comment and just joined the discussion, look how many people now potentially have the ability to see what it is that you just commented, what it is that you posted. So you're putting yourself out there so people get to know your name. And in time, there's going to be ways that you can introduce your blog post and redirect them to articles that you write that add value to the conversation. So again, you're not trying to enter this conversation so you can sell. You're trying to add value. Where can you see discussions that are already happening? You might go to Twitter and search some hashtags, cooking with spices or whatever it may be, and just see the discussions that are out there. How that's going to help you is that it's not only going to help narrow and give you some ideas of what to blog about, but it also is going to put you in front of your target market. You're going to see people who have already liked, commented, shared, retweeted, whatever it may be, those particular articles. Is that not what you want to do, right? So not just find good articles and things to write about, but ultimately, you're trying to match your article to your target market. And the way I love it with this approach is that it really kind of helps you to know who your target market is. Who are people who have already expressed interest in that specific topic. One of the challenges in approaching just, let's say, a neighbor, for example, is without your initial discussion, you don't really know what their hot buttons are, what their interests are. And so we sometimes go with this real general longevity approach, and it's like we open up our trench coat, right, and we have all these things that we sell. And it's a little bit overwhelming and confusing and kind of turns people off because I think it's, people don't want to be sold to, but they do want to be educated, and they do like getting value from people. So if you can have kind of a different approach of what are people out there in the online community, because the online community is already organized into communities and groups, right? There's a million Facebook groups or Twitter, Pinterest, whatever your Instagram, whatever your platform is, you can do a search within those platforms and find your target market and find ideas of what to blog about. Okay? So that's step number 3 on what to do next. Step number 1 was decide what you want to blog about. Number 2 was to set up your blog on Blogger or WordPress. Step 3 was to do some research, right? Facebook search, Twitter search, search some hashtags of things that are happening out there. And then outline your first 3 blog posts. All right, so based on that research that you were out there, or maybe even based on your expertise, what are things that you add value to? I know a lot about cooking, so I might not, I might not do that. But I do know, having been one of the co-founders of Neolisa Jewelry, I do know a lot about jewelry, and I do know a lot about things within jewelry that are really hot right now, like essential oil lockets, bracelets, and things like that. And so I might make my first 3 blog posts about something like that. So you're going to narrow down your first 3. Number 4, the 4th step is you're going to start writing your posts. Okay? So you're going to go into, and we'll do another webinar where I actually can walk you through, and maybe I'll even write a post from start to finish. So you kind of see what the steps are and how easy it really is. Okay? Please keep that in mind, everyone. I've talked a lot about a lot of different things, but the process itself can be really simple and easy. Okay? You just have to take one thing at a time and take certain steps. So I'm trying to give you action items, okay, on this what to do next, so you know where to start. All right? So you're going to write your posts, and then you're going to optimize them. So if you're using the WordPress site, you're going to already have that built-in tool, Yoast, SEO, that's going to help you to optimize your article for you. Okay? And then the 5th step is going to be to drive traffic, to take that blog post and you're going to repost it in things on social media, maybe on your personal Facebook, maybe on your business Facebook page. Hey, I'll give you another example. Let's go back to my screen share here, and let's go to one of the largest places called Reddit.com. It's basically a place where people can ask questions of all sorts, and then it organizes it, and then people answer people's questions. So I can go up here and do a search for how to cook with spices, just as an example, okay? I hit search, and now check this out. It's going to pull up, questions that people had or comments that people had. Let's see, I want to increase my spice tolerance. Any tips on or favorite spicy recipes? So you could simply, you see it's got 24 comments here. So you could simply click on this, and then maybe you maybe you already have a blog post that's about, how to flavor, how to spice up your meals. And so you go in here and just simply comment on this article and answer the question. So you see, you're basically taking things that you have offered of value, your blog post. You're finding your audience. That's what this is just one example of, is finding your audience. Let's see, how to cook with wines, herbs, and spices. What's the most underrated spice? How do I spice a chili to win a chili cook-off? Well, we've got some great spices that people could use for that. So again, you can go on here, and this is a way that you then drive traffic to your blog. So you say, what do I blog about? What do I write about? You write it, and then now you're going out to the online community and saying, okay, how can I get my blog post in front of the right audience? And this is just one example, one tip that I've given you, is to go to Reddit.com, because it's got millions and millions and millions of searches and questions that are put on there every single day, and you can kind of just browse around. Maybe I just put cook with spices and see what else comes up there. I swear I'm going to learn how to cook. It's just a matter of time. Okay, nice little pun there. So anyways, you can just kind of scroll through and find things that, well, I like stuff like this. What's the most underrated spice and how do you cook with it? Well, I like this because it shows that there was a lot of comments. So there's a lot of people that were engaged on this. And so I like commenting on those types of things. If you only have 5 spices to cook with the rest of your, for the rest of your life, what are they? Now, wouldn't it be cool? Look at this, 661 comments. So there's a lot of people that had interest in this. So why not maybe do a blog post of what are the top 5 favorite spices, the must-have spices that you have, and then you can literally link up videos and recipes that are already created for you by our marketing team, and you just insert those into your blog. Okay? So, for example, let's say you, well, let me just show you. Actually, let me get off on a little tangent here and go to YouTube. And this is my YouTube channel. I've got a playlist of just savor spices. So, for example, you can simply embed this video into your blog post, because you don't want just text, right? You want to make sure your articles don't just have words in them, because you're going to not engage people. It's very important to add pictures and add video. Okay, and these things are already created for you. Don't think like you have to, be a photographer or a professional video maker. You can simply go, heck, you can go to, my YouTube channel or the company YouTube channel or whatever out there, and you can embed this video into your post. So let me show you how to do that. You go up here to this share button, and by the way, you can go up here and just copy and paste this URL into your blog post, but let me show you a better way to do it. The reason I don't like to do it that way is, you remember how sometimes you watch a video and then YouTube will say, when the video is all done, at the very end, it says, hey, here are some other videos to watch. And it's a list of you'll have 9 different videos, and they could be to other longevity reps. They might be to even competitors, other businesses. Sometimes they're just not relevant to you. And why would you? And people hate that about YouTube, right? Because you post a YouTube video, and then at the very end, they can then get redirected somewhere else, and you want to avoid that. And here's how you do that: simply click this share button. Okay. So I hit share, and then instead of copying the URL, I'm going to click on embed, and here you'll see some options. The very first one is show suggested videos when the video finishes. If you just unclick that, then at the end of your video, when it's done, it will not show all the other competitor videos out there. So it keeps them focused and keeps them on your blog, okay, which is very important. And then you can just hit copy, and it copies that URL. And then now when you're back into your blog, you can just simply paste that URL, and it will embed it. So it doesn't just show it as a link, but it'll actually show it as the actual video. You'll see, the video, which is going to engage more people, entice more people to watch it. Okay? All right. So that was just a little tangent or a little tip on, embedding videos. So anyways, back to Reddit again. I could do a search for anything I wanted. It might be, if it's memory preservation, I might be, how to preserve photos. And again, I'm scrolling through, and then I'm just basically, when I find something that's relevant to my blog post, if I've already written something, then I'm just clicking on it, and I'm going to add a comment, and hey, this was a great question. I wrote a blog post that I think you'll find of great value, and then you copy and paste your blog post URL, and that's what redirects them to your blog. Okay? Now, what I do in my blog, and I'm not going to go into the details of this, but this is how I use the ygysystem.com with my blog post. Is I then, in my blog post, I will redirect them to one of my landing pages. Okay, so let me log into my GPS system. And if I click on Generate Prospects, so here's all of the landing pages that we've already created for you. And again, if you're new to all this, a landing page is simply a way, well, I'll just click on one and show you, Melissa Jewelry. It simply usually has a video, a headline, a couple bullet points, and the goal is to just pique interest so that they will enter their information to sign up for a newsletter or whatnot. So what I'll do on my blog post is I'll write an article, and I'll say, hey, for more information, or to enter a drawing, or to, be notified when we have promotions or whatever, enter your information here. And then I redirect them to my landing page. Again, we've created all of these for you. We've got ones for jewelry. We've got one for wanting more energy, taking control, which is kind of a business opportunity. So I'll just click on a couple of them to kind of show you, right? Are you living someone else's dream or building? Are you living your dream or building someone else's? There's only two options in this world. So a little video that talks about entrepreneurism, for example, entrepreneurship, I should say. Memory preservation, healthy body challenge, rebound. So we're focusing more on athletes. Here's some of the Bella Vita products, essential oils. So we've created these for you, and you just simply. So some people have signed up already for ygysystem.com, but they're saying, hey, I'm not getting a lot of leads yet. Well, that is because you have to drive traffic to the landing page in the first place. So a blog is a fantastic way to do that. So you write the blog post, you're not selling things, you're just giving them value, you're educating them, and you're saying, hey, for more information, because you always want some kind of call to action, you can say, check this out, and that's where you send your landing page. Or if you want to send them to your store, you can simply do that. You can insert, you can go to your longevity actual store. So let's say I write an article about essential oils. Maybe my blog post is about peppermint oil. And so I'm just going to do a search. That pulls up peppermint oil. I can click on that. Let that load. And then what I can do is I just can go up here and actually copy, and then I can go to my blog post and actually insert that into the article itself, right? To shop peppermint oil from one of the top, quality manufacturers in the world, click here, and then you hyperlink, you highlight here, and then you just insert this link. And so when people click on that link, it would send them directly to your store. So again, the reason I don't want to, I do that sometimes, I don't do it with every post, is because rather than just sending people to my website, I really like sending them to one of my landing pages first, because that allows me to then track them. It allows me to get their information, and then now as they go and to the website and do things, it will keep track of everything that that client does in your back office within the GPS system. Okay, so I can go to my contacts and it'll tell me all the information. What videos do they watch, for example? How much of the videos do they watch? And it gives me so much information that I can then market to them and see. If you send people directly just to your website, you never really know. Did they go there, right? Did they ever shop? So I like sending people, I like taking blog posts, directing them to my ygysystem.com landing page. So we have, I think, 17 or 18 landing pages. And you can even create your own within the system now. And then that way you're capturing their information so that you can market to them. Think of them as a seed, right? You can now nurture that seed and give it time to grow. Not everybody is ready to buy right away. You've got to nurture them, educate them, provide value, and in time you build a relationship with them, and in time you can then have the right to sell to them, if you will, right? And they're much more receptive, you're going to find, if you will have this approach of give, right, before ask, okay? I'm telling you, that approach does wonders, and it's getting more and more like that in this online world where we just get bombarded with so many different things, people selling those things right away. So add value. How can I think to yourself, how can I serve this person? How can I help them? How can I educate them? And then you're putting them into the sales funnel through ygysystem.com, and that's how you're going to, again, write blog posts, send email campaigns, and so forth, give them a call, and educate them and help them nurture that seed to let that grow and to bring forth fruit eventually. Okay? All right, so that's, we talked about why to have a blog. We talked about how to set up a blog. We talked about what to do next with 5 steps. Let me go ahead and end our discussion with 3 critical tips that are really, really important as you get started. Okay? And by the way, I'm going to post this webinar, so if anybody has any questions as you watch it, feel free to just ask them on the Facebook group page, and then I'll reply either to you directly or to the general response so everybody can kind of see that. But the first critical step I would tell you when it comes to blogging is don't overwhelm yourself, okay? Keep it simple, based around the time that you have. You might be someone that has a full-time job, and you know, so keep it simple. Set a goal to just, you know, write 1 blog post a month, all right? Your blog posts don't have to be super long. In fact, a lot of times less is more. So you can simply put on there a paragraph, a few sentences, and then, you know, embed a YouTube video that we already have. I think I showed you before the YouTube. You know, I've got, you know, ones on particular, you know, blog posts. So you might say, here's 5 of our top spices and 5 recipes. And instead of just listing by text the 5 recipes, you could actually embed the video that talks about, you know, the Thai green chicken curry or the Calabrese pesto Parmesan twist and pasta. And you just embed those videos within it to make it much more engaging. And then you're going to have some kind of call to action. But keep it simple, okay? Maybe it's once a month. Start with that. If you have more time, great. Maybe you do, you know, 2 times a month. Maybe you work your way up to 1 post a week. But start small so that you don't overwhelm yourself. Don't think of this blogging as this massive undertaking. Think of it as simply this. I could set up a free blog through blogger.com. I can write 1 post a month. That post can simply consist of a paragraph, right? A few words, a few sentences. I can utilize pictures, recipes, and videos that already exist. And I'll do another webinar that actually I'll walk you through step by step, like actually creating a blog post, and we'll do it together. We'll optimize it together, and I'll show you how I drive traffic and everything to it, so it'll make a little bit more sense. But at least in today's webinar, I wanted to give kind of an introduction to blogging and emphasize the importance of doing this. So tip number 1, don't overwhelm yourself. Keep it simple. Right? Number 2, be consistent. Okay? Be consistent, whether that's once a month, whether that's twice a month, whether that's once a week. Just be consistent. Don't write a blog post and then do nothing for 6 months. Google wants to see consistency because they know that that means your content is current. If you write a great blog post that gets seen by tons of people, but then don't write anything for a year, Google's going to not rank your blog very high because they're not going to see that there's a lot of fresh content. There's not a lot of engagement, not a lot of new information. So they're not going to rank it as high. Okay, so you want to have consistent content, even if it's as simple as once a month. Okay, and then the third and last step is to just, and most importantly, is to be patient. Be patient, my friends. It's a process. It takes time for the seed to grow. You think of a prospect as a seed. It doesn't grow overnight. Sometimes it takes a month. Sometimes it takes 6 months to really start seeing some traction with blogging and with online efforts. Okay? But if you'll just be patient in the process, things do happen. I promise you. I went from, at the end of my very first year, and I had 99% of my whole approach and strategy was in the online efforts, on online strategy, okay? I didn't personally host any home parties, but I said I can go out to online efforts and find people who are willing to host a party, who want to host a party, who want to attend a party, or whatever it may be. And by the end of our first year, we had about 300 people. 300, that's between reps and preferred customers. And we got up to doing 22,000 a month maybe in sales. By the end of our second year, we went to 1,000 reps and preferred customers, doing about 40,000 a month. By the end of our third year, we were up to about 30,000 reps and preferred customers, doing about 250,000 a month in sales. And this last year, we're up to 66,806. I know that because I just checked. And doing over 500,000 a month in sales. So I'm telling you, I didn't get all of these sales and these reps and preferred customers personally. I didn't do it all on my own. But I can tell you, as I look through, my level ones, almost 95% of them all came through online efforts. That I found them through my system, the YGYsystem.com, and through blogging. And so I was finding people who then found people, who then found people, who then found people. And that's how we grow this business. So again, you can have the traditional approach in network marketing of making your list of 50 people, 100 people, and going after your local community, and that's great and fantastic and important. I would definitely encourage you to do that. But you can also blend with that. Instead of just focusing on finding people, what can you do to help people find you? And that's what blogging is about. Hopefully this was helpful. I can open it up to some Q&A, but I've gone a little bit over time. Why don't I save the Q&A for the online discussion? So I'll post this webinar, this recording, on our Facebook group, and feel free to ask any questions or comments. Thanks for your time. Excited for you to get started. Excited for you to get results. Again, be patient. Be consistent. Keep it simple. Have a good one.